wealthy place. The journey to your wealthy place. It's nice to drive a new car, isn't it, sister? Isn't it nice to drive a new car? Isn't it nice to drive a newer car? Isn't it nice to drive a new car? I'm not saying that it's the end all be all, but it's nice sometimes where you can pull up in front of the folks and you ain't got a little smoke and you ain't got a little rat-tat-tat-tat-tat and everything else, and you got to wait till all the folks on the church parking lot leave before you pull up. You know, it's nice to have that. So I'm talking about the journey to your wealthy place. It's so important to reach our wealthy place. I went to the lexicographer, I like using that big word, actually, the dictionary, and a wealthy place is defined as having a lot of money and a lot of possessions. So a wealthy place is a place of abundance, a place of prosperity, a place of liberty and freedom, a place where we flourish, a place where we succeed, a place of affluence, a place of riches, a place of rich content, a place of opulence, a place of refreshment, a place of more than enough, a well-watered place, a deep-pocketed place, a loaded place, a place of the overflow, a place of peace, a place of daybreak. God's going to start someone's journey to their wealthy place on today. Look, this isn't an offering message. I'm not going to change on you in the middle of the game, but it's a critical message to us at such a critical time in history. Folks, it's time for the saints of God to start operating in wealth. Deuteronomy 8:18 states that God has given us the power to get wealth, that God may establish his covenant which he sware unto thy fathers as it is this day. Saints, it's time for each of us to start the journey to our wealthy place. The journey to your wealthy place. I know some of you all may already be in your wealthy place, but for the rest of us, you just weather this message and you just say, I'm starting on my journey to my wealthy place. Let me say to you, you said, preacher, why is it so important that we start the journey to our wealthy place? Let me set the stage. Poverty is a curse. Can I say it again? Poverty is a curse. I grew up in the hood, even though my dad called me later on, but I grew up on the street called Azalea off College and Macklemore, and I went through a couple streets in my head and went down doors. I did this all one night. And then I even picked up a little bit of Westwood when I moved with my father and things were a little bit better. But I went door to door and I counted 24 people that started life with me that I felt like died before their time. The Lord then took me to 3 John 2 where it states, behold, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prospereth. The Lord told me that too far often we think where God wants us to prosper and be in health, that they're separate things. Folks, if you want any health at all, you better prosper. You know why people are having, Memphis, I think I read by statistics, is the #1 place in the world for diabetes. In the world. There are 8 new dialysis centers just in Whitehaven. I think Fresenius has 20, and the other big party, DaVita has about 20. So that's 40. That's not counting any of the hospitals. Our health's being wrecked, and many times our health is being wrecked because we're thinking about our finances. I told somebody, what's that song? I think if you want romance, you gotta have some finance. I didn't hear that one in church, but I'm telling you, if you want romance, you gotta have some finance. So many people are worried about their bills, worried about that. How about this one right here? We're living, 70% of America is living paycheck to paycheck. Or let me make this 21st century good to you, direct deposit to direct deposit. And I'm speaking that to you on this morning, that so many of us are being challenged in our finances, and you won't get any peace until you learn how to prosper. And I'm not, this isn't a set-up message for an offering, but I'm telling you that if we're okay with being in the middle class folks, that I think we're living in a day now where we're going to two classes of people, those that have and those that have not. Middle class don't mean anything, because if you middle class and you got two paychecks over your money, over your bills, one sickness, Deborah and I deal with that with Stephanie. Stephanie can go and we feel like things are just zooming through life, and she goes, and one sickness, one hospital visit, you know, you can run up to $100,000 in a hospital in a little or no time. You got to start thinking, this is serious. We got to start thinking about our finances. You know, people at the top are all right. And I used to say that people at the bottom are being taken care of by the government, but President Trump on second term, he's coming after some of the disabled. He's coming after some welfare checks. He's coming, I went to, my cousin pastored a church over in Arkansas, deep in Arkansas, and we went to a corner grocery, and I know they want to paint the picture of welfare as just black folks, but white person after white person was coming in and swiping that EBT card right at that place. But he's going to affect us directly. I'm telling you that in Memphis, in America, if 75% of the people are living check to check, that's 3 out of 4. Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, if they combine their net worths together, their net worth is more than all of black America. 2 men. Come on, folks. I mean, I'm making you think this morning. 47% of Americans don't have $400 in their bank account. Wages are flat. There are no true wage increase since 2008. 50 million are at the poverty line. 40 million are on food stamps. How about this? College tuition. A classmate of mine's son is at USC at a cost of $75,000 a year. Who's going to be able to afford college soon? What makes college affordable for so many are student loans. Now all of a sudden we have over $1 trillion in outstanding student loan debt. They said that most people of our color die being in student loan debt. Automobile financing is longer. When I entered in the car business in 1986, the very first 48-month loans were being made. Now 84. 96, and even on some models of Mercedes, you have 120-month financing available on certain models. Folks, if it takes you 10 years to pay for a car, you can't afford it. A recent study that it will take 228 years for black families to accumulate the same amount of wealth as white families. We're behind the gun 228 years. I used to take pride in our household being upper middle class. I used to say that we were an upper middle class neighborhood until my daughter got sick. The bills and the co-pays. You know, folks, they come at you like nothing you've ever seen. Folks, if you take pride in middle class, you better not get sick. I'm just telling you right now. Most in this room are employed. But if we would truly be honest every now and then we have to wonder that if JOB is just an acronym for just over broke. You all get that one? All right, manufacturing companies in the U.S. are succumbing to the allure of a $1 an hour labor in another country. So there comes all these high-paying manufacturing jobs. I used to remember when I grew up, I saw the pride of Firestone jobs. I saw the pride of folks that worked at Kellogg's. I sold a man a car in 1995, worked at Kellogg's. He was the janitor. He made $99,000 as a janitor in 1995 at Kellogg's. But that day is changing. Those jobs, they're getting all those old guys off the plant, out of the door, and they're hiring you back at $12 or $13 an hour. Whenever you're talking about how much you work an hour, there's never enough hours that you can transfer for those dollars. And I'm speaking this because every now and then we need to talk about our money. I see things that I want Temple of Love to be able to do, but we're going to have to get out of the construct, and everything that you want to do in this world, it takes what? Money. It takes money. No one wants the church to talk about your job because they say all these preachers, all they after is just your money. When you went to Kroger, guess what they were after? Money. When you went to Walmart, when you went to Nissan, everybody's after your money. So just consider in the Whitehaven, there are 8 new dialysis centers. Memphis is a booming dialysis center. I talked to someone the other day to pick up their prescription was $800. A person in front of me one day at Walgreens, you try not to hear what anybody else is doing at the window. You try to stay out of other folks' Kool-Aid, but they quoted this man $1,100. I said, oh, he finna cuss them out right now. And guess what he did? He went to his pocket and he paid $1,100. Folks, some people's lives are depending on their meds and they can't afford to get sick. People are making a decision. They told me some lady out in Fraser that has a business is raising nonprofit money because people in Fraser are eating dog food, eating cat food, that she's feeding 1,000 people a month out of her small business. Folks, we have to talk about these things. I know because, everybody that's out there slanging and banging don't want to slang and bang. I talked to a friend of mine. He has a church, and they kept breaking in the church right there somewhere in the Westwood area. That's all I say. I want to identify them, but they kept breaking in the church. I said, well, dude, you're the only one on the street eating. So just find some of them dudes down at the end of the street and help them to eat. And all of a sudden, he reached out to them and found 1 or 2. And guess what? They said, Pastor, dude was going to break into church. We ran them away for you. And I'm telling you, everybody doesn't want to be in some bad state. But we're in a decision now that we got to come into our wealthy place. It used to be selfish for somebody to say that they want to prosper and say that they want to be rich. But if you can't help somebody else, to help somebody else, what do you need? What do you need? You're going to need it for yourself. And I want us to prosper. It's God's will that we prosper. I broke his relative. I said somebody, you can make $1,000 a month, and I met guys that be $9,000 a month, and they got $8,500 a month in bills. Guess what? You're still broke. Turn the corner. Psalm 66 said, make a joyful noise unto the Lord, all ye lands. That was the part where y'all should make a little noise.